Hey everybody, this is your boy HeeeeresJonny.
And this is A's, and you wonder why? It's because you're gonna get it.
I get it.
Yeah.
Anyway, why are we here tonight, A's?
Well, we're here to talk about Sym-Bionic Titan.
And why you should watch it. Besides the fact that it's awesome.
Yeah, that was convincing.
Because it's awesome. But if you need more of a argument than that, I really can't help you, but I guess we'll go ahead and give you a breakdown anyway.
I mean, if you like cartoons, watch it.
If you like cartoons, no, even if you don't like cartoons, watch it. If you've never seen a cartoon in your life, Johnny, this would be the most...
You know what country we live in? Do you know how much people just dismiss it when it's animated, motherfucker?
Fuck those people. Yeah.
I'm just saying. That is usually the generalization of how people behave, at least from an adult standpoint on these sort of things.
Anyway, dismissing that whole thought, we're going to go ahead and give you a series breakdown, mostly spoiler-free. Don't worry, we will call out spoilers to tell you when to skip.
We'll tell each other to shut up if we,
That's spoilers!
I'll be like, shut up!
But nah, basically, Sym-Bionic Titan is probably one of the best shows to air on Cartoon Network in the past, 10, 15 years?
Maybe a little less than that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I haven't been watching as much Cartoon Network, so maybe you have a better idea since you've been watching.
God, it's such crap.
Because I really did stop watching Cartoon Network for a while. I picked it up in high school in the beginning, and I was like, alright, this is pretty good. This is when, the Toonami generation was around, but this is, toward the end of Toonami when I started watching.
Yeah.
Then... it kind of trickled down further, I realized.
Do you know why you stopped watching Cartoon Network? Nobody actually is aware of when they stopped watching Cartoon Network. The shows got the quality just went down so much.
It was gradual.
It's like, man, I usually watch Toonami around this time, but there's better stuff on now. So I think I'm going to just change the channel, I'm just going to click, and you just
I see these two dudes with glasses, and they're throwing these little papers around, and I don't even know the show. I already know the show I have in my mind. I just don't know the name of it.
I have no idea what show you're talking about.
But I promise you, it sounds like something that'd be on Adult Swim.
But anyway, back to the topic at hand. We're going back to Sym-Bionic Titan, which is, if you didn't know, it's a show about, let's see, and this is coming straight from the Sym-Bionic Titan wiki. Look it up.
Alright, wiki.
The series follows the lives of Ilana, Lance, and Octus, two alien teens and a robot in the form of a humanoid who arrive on Earth, an identical planet to their home planet, Galiluna. While fleeing an evil general who attacked their planet, they hide in plain sight on Earth, and that's pretty much the plot.
Yeah, kind of sounds silly, huh? Alright, never mind. Don't watch this show. Alright, let's cut this podcast now.
Hey. The plot might be silly, and it borrows heavily from old Sentai format and old anime format, but just it's an episodic series. Most episodes can stand on their own, but this series gets a lot of things right, and it doesn't fall into a lot of the traps that similar children's shows fall into. So we're gonna cover that. Age, you want to give us a little bit of backstory on this show?
Backstory on the show within production, or just
within production?
Well, I know it's, story-wise and direction-wise, it is done by Genny Tartakovsky. He's the guy who worked on Samurai Jack. I think he helped produce for Powerpuff Girls, and he also helped direct in the Clone Wars, not the 3D one that Lucas pretty much, kept going with. I don't know why, but it's
sell out.
the 2D one, which the 3D one pretty much derived from in a very watered down way. But yeah, if you haven't checked the Clone Wars in 2D out, that was pretty much basically very short 10-minute segments they always presented between episodes of Toonami. That's how they always presented them, and they were really good. You'd be like, damn, that was the best 10 minutes of my life. Where are those 10 minutes?
I'm definitely gonna have to check that out. We might actually do an episode about that in the future.
Man, it's definitely better than the 3D adaptation.
But alright, basically it's stylized after it's the closest comparison I think I can make to the way these episodes are structured is Power Rangers. Because basically you have the everyday interaction between the characters.
It's Power Rangers with Saved by the Bell and
Okay, let's not confuse the audience. Because Power Rangers was more or less Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, it was
writing.
more like
It was pretty much
true.
Yeah, it was pretty.
See, I didn't grow up with Saved by the Bell. I just got the impression of what Saved by the Bell was.
It was Power Rangers without all the kung fu and the special effects and the monsters. So pretty much just the bad parts of Power Rangers. That was Saved by the Bell, basically. But anyway, no, I mean, you know, you have giant monsters. The three main characters, they all each have their own battle armor, but when the situation gets really dire, they can combine into the giant robot called Sym-Bionic Titan, and that's where the show gets its name from.
Yeah. Do you remember what those mechs were called?
I don't think they actually had a name.
I guess maybe not.
There was a model for the like type of armor that Lance had, but they didn't actually give a name to the different battle forms that they had.
That's true. They didn't go into any real specifics about it.
But no, so I think one of the main strengths of this show is actually just the character interactions when the action is, you know, not going on.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way the characters interact, and I like all the characters, and the series is pretty good about giving each of the three main characters their own episodes and their own screen time and their own development. Because I think every single character in the show pretty much developed throughout the show's, you know, first season. Mm-hmm. And the first season is only 20 episodes. Make more, Cartoon Network.
You proposed the idea that they had more, but I don't think they are. I think the show did get canceled.
Yeah, so at the end of this podcast, after we explain how awesome this show is, what I want you to do is go ahead and, you know, write an angry letter, an angry email to
Raise
Cartoon.
a torch.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna be forming an angry mob. You know, we'll tweet you the details.
We were a little late on this because, you know, there was like a whole online. You know,
yeah, but it's okay. We're bringing it back. We're bringing it back.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and 1 million angry fan fictions were written. Anyway,
I gotta pick those up. I'm sure Vaughn will bring them to me. I mean, Tenchi, my bad.
No, you mean Vaughn, because that's what his name is. God damn it.
I thought we were relying on our aliases.
That is his alias.
Oh, yeah.
God damn it. Can't keep track of nothing. Gotta do everything. Anyway, let's talk about the main characters, though, the main three.
Ilana, Lance, and Newton.
Octus.
Octus, yeah, before Newton.
Yeah, he was a real
he was Octus before Newton.
Okay, but since you brought up Octus, let's talk about him first, because I think he's a really great character. Mm-hmm. And each of the three main characters kind of fills in a stereotyped role. Mm-hmm. They're all basically fall within a given stereotype. But the cool thing about this show to me is that they are part of this stereotype, but they kind of rise above it because
they still put a twist on it.
Exactly. Well, no, the characters actually they even though they fit within these roles, they don't let it define them, and they pretty much rise above every single stereotype they fall into. Like
they present it and then they show where they progress.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I think all three characters pretty much went through a growth throughout the show, throughout the first season of the show. So Octus is a robot. And he's a robot, like a floating orb that can pretty much project the image of any human he chooses to.
Yeah.
And
even when he's not in human form and he's like in his wiry, bubbly state, that he can deform himself in any shape he wants. Really, he just takes a human role and walks around. Yeah, it's a pretty unique, malleable form that he can have.
And they're hiding on Earth. So, they went to high school because, actually, why do they always go to high school in these type of shows? You think if they wanted to delay, though, they would just kind of, stay home or something?
I'm not sure. Did they actually come up with a rationalization on?
Actually, no, they never did. I think the princess whined, and that's what they did. It was like they were in a cave.
I remember when they got their place, during the second episode. They finally actually, bought a place. It was great because they can just generate cash with a robot in their team. So that's not an issue for these aliens here. That's
one of Octus's powers. He literally makes money appear out of thin air.
Yeah, and one of the sellers even made a note about that, saying, "Yeah, people pay by cash when they purchase homes." Yeah. Anyway, I'm just gonna leave. So it's great to see that sort of thing. At least it shows the show is not only entertaining kids; that's entertaining adults right there.
Yeah. But basically, Octus's whole character growth was he's a robot, you know, and yes, he has intelligence, he has emotions. For some reason, he eats, which confuses me.
He does eat.
Yeah, he eats, man.
I mean, didn't Data used to eat in Star Trek?
I don't know. I'm not a Trekkie. I'm not a nerd like you are.
Oh yeah,
nerd. Anyway, back to.
How dare you accuse me of such an awesome title? Wait, why am I getting offended?
Anyway, no, Octus's whole, character growth and, what defines Octus is he's put in a situation where, he's logical, he's machine-like at the start of the series. I mean, even when he's in his human form, even when he's projecting, like, Newton, which is his alter ego, his alias is a human, which is a giant refrigerator-shaped human.
Pretty much. Because that's his silhouette before he even appears as human. He looks like a refrigerator silhouette.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, Octus's whole growth was learning how to, understand and interact with humans. He gets logical interactions, but he has no basis for emotional interactions. And he pretty much, throughout the series, he begins to emote more. He begins to understand humans more.
Yeah.
There's like one episode called, I Am Octus.
Yeah.
Where he, everybody on Earth pretty much gets frozen. And he has to figure out a way to solve the situation. So it's a pretty...
I forgot about that episode.
Yeah, it's a pretty quiet episode, but he pretty much has to go through like an identity crisis and, come to terms with himself as a being,
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty awesome. That was pretty badass.
Mm-hmm.
He also gets a girlfriend, spoilers. But we're not going to tell you who, so you have to watch the show.
And just know it's a human.
No spoilers, dude. What the fuck?
I know.
What the fuck, dude? Spoilers.
Yeah,
God,
right.
Jesus.
It could have been a girl dog,
or a robot. A girl. Wait, do robots have genitalia?
This is where the term female male kind of lose all meaning at this.
That's true. Anyway, so no. Octus is an awesome character. He pretty much the way his humor works is that pretty much he just doesn't get sarcasm or.
Or a lot of other things for that matter, especially when people. I remember one episode in particular where Lance is not trying to date this girl who's pretty much identifies as a nerd throughout the show. They try to really stereotype her as that, and
that girl was never shown in any other episode besides that episode.
Yeah, but I remember that one scene because I was watching it because it was just like he didn't want to go. And Octus is just like, oh, wait, because he's like, I gotta do something with Octus. Octus is like, oh, what are we doing?
Yeah, pretty much, basically, Lance was another main character who was, a girl was asking him out that he didn't want to go out with. And he's like, well, I would love to, but me and Newton have plans. And Newton pretty much doesn't get it. And he's just like, oh, really? I wasn't aware we had plans. What are we doing?
Yeah.
And he's smiling, and Lance is like, dude, what the hell?
Pretty much. And then he just stares at him angrily the whole time until Octus is like, what?
Yeah. And then, Lance pretty much ends up going out with that chick. So.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So that is 1/3, and I forgot. We didn't go into the 3 separate components that each of these 3 represent.
Yeah, we gotta also mention Lance. Let's start with Newton.
Yeah, no, I mean Octus. They each make up a part of the Sym-Bionic Titan trio, and Newton represents the brain of the team.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the heart of the team.
The heart of the team.
Yeah, Ilana.
Yeah. I always figured like Newton was a mediator too between them.
Brain, yeah, he's the logical one.
Yeah.
The other 2 mostly emotional, largely emotional.
Yeah, Ilana is the
or unemotional, is the in Lance's case.
Oh, that would be sacrilegious for him to do such a thing.
What does that have to do with sacred? Anyway, back to what we were talking about.
Religion of Lance, fuck you. Anyway.
The Church of Lance, right? Yeah.
Hey, people, there was characters worshipping him anyway.
We'll get to that when we talk about Lance, but right now we're talking about Ilana.
Okay.
Greetings, everyone. Greetings and salutations. I am Ilana Lunas, and we are she is enthusiastic. She is really freaking.
That's what you sound like you're at work.
No, that's not what I sound like when I'm at work. I try not to do too many pirouettes at work. I start knocking things off the shelves.
And
people start raising their eyebrows. It doesn't work. It's not good for anybody.
Yeah.
So anyway, no, Ilana is the heart of the team. And I actually like Ilana as a character quite a bit. But her backstory, she's pretty much the princess of Galaluna. She was heir to the throne. The only person ruling, you know, ahead of her was her father, who's the king. And I don't think they actually ever gave his name. He's just the king. But no, I mean...
You just call him Dad.
Usually when you see like a princess type character, I mean, this character could have gone badly, you know. She could have been just a dainty damsel in distress like a lot of girl characters end up being in these shows. But no, she stands on her own as a character. Yeah, she's you know, she's sheltered obviously, but she's also brave. She's also, you know, And the thing is, in the high school setting, she's not really drawn to be super cutesy or super attractive or super girly. She's attractive, but she's
not considered within like among the sorority girls that you would typically find at the.
Yeah,
she actually has to kind of even.
Yeah, she becomes like the nerd at school. You know? And I thought
the characters identified both her and Newton as doofuses when they were both introduced in the high school. Yeah, they specifically called them that.
And I thought that was pretty. That was a pretty nice twist on that type of character. Because usually when you see a princess, she's good at everything. She's hot. She's smart. She's brave. She's.
But the way they drew the other humans' relation to her when she's acting all spirited around them, especially when she's trying to, you know, be enthusiastic and bring high spirits. You see all the kids, they draw them completely different from her. Because you see a girl looking all bubbly, something you would see from Powerpuff Girls, within these like vermin looking little humans that are like not giving a shit about anything. They draw them with little dots looking like whiskers, like, meh, what the fuck is this bitch? And like you can see in the background just kind of disgusted faces.
Yeah, pretty much like her first day of class, she's all excited, she's trying to be a diplomat, and she's greetings and salutations. I hope we can all unite under one people. And then like her class just laughs at her and just, you know, you're like dork or some shit like that, right?
Yeah, they actually did say that.
Yeah. But no, I mean, she's not your typical girl character. She's not always in need of rescuing. She can handle her business, you know. She has more than one outfit, which I really loved about this series. Like usually when you see an episodic series like this, the characters are always more or less wearing the same thing. But no, she has a different outfit every single episode. And
the projection is pretty good in this show.
And she actually looks and acts like a girl. Like she doesn't act like a cardboard cutout of a girl or a stereotype of a girl. She's actually, you know, a girl.
She seems more relatable. Yeah. Even if she is like from another planet and, you know, is a princess and everything, they still manage to make her seem human in respect to how they show her grow.
And they draw that chick ugly in the morning time.
I love the way they draw her in the morning. The way they do a good job on definitely giving, you know, different moods to how the characters feel and certain times. They change up their hair like crazy. They make them look like adorable, like freaking dolls, and then they make them look like, you know, they've been stomped and thrown in the freaking garbage can and came out of that bitch and just look like they just been chewed up by a dog or something.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. And her main growth really was like what defined her as a character. She wanted to, you know, be accepted and be popular amongst the humans, but her real, you know, her I guess her real sense of responsibility, her real sense of duty was to her people. Like they pretty much came to Earth because an alien general attacked their home planet and they were forced to flee.
They flee to protect her pretty much.
Yeah, they were forced to flee, and she, as the princess, is the heir to the throne and the spirit of the people. So as long as she's safe, the people, you know, their spirit hasn't broken. They'll continue to be resistant.
I don't know. If I was the people, I'd be like, fuck her. I don't know what happened to that bitch.
But she's alive as far as they know.
I ain't like a damn ant colony. I'm like, the queen's dead.
Anyway, she's the spirit of her people, and that's where her real sense of responsibility lies. She's on Earth being protected, but she really wants to go back home and, you know, save her planet. Help Galaluna. Yeah. Which is a really understandable motivation, you know. Yep. And that's pretty much, you know, that's where her growth comes from, you know. She pretty much goes from a situation where she's the princess and she's idolized by everybody to where she's pretty much ostracized, and she has to learn to deal with that. She's no longer sheltered at the end of the series. And she actually becomes a pretty badass fighter. You know, she's pretty competent near the end of the series. There's one episode where they storm an army base and she's like kicking major ass. She's like scaling barbed wire and shit, taking out soldiers. You know, doing stealth takedowns like Solid Snake. You know.
Yeah, I like the episode in particular when they had like the goop money monsters that were coming out all over in the high school.
That was a good episode.
Yeah, that's one episode you really see her grow as a character in relation to her situation with the cheerleaders.
Yeah, God, this show hates cheerleaders.
Yeah, they really make it a point to not, you know, when it comes to cheerleaders, whatever stereotypical thought you had of cheerleaders that people presented to you, this show amplifies 20 times over.
Yeah, they make cheerleaders basically heartless, valueless, unscrupulous, scandalous bitches. All of them. They're all the same backstabbing, conniving, deceitful little just monsters, man. You know.
Yeah, they did not get. They did not give them any sort of innocence at all. They just
cheerleaders suck. That's what Sym-Bionic Titan.
That was the message right there.
And I actually think the creator of the show must have just been rejected too many times by cheerleaders in high school. And he's like, this is his revenge. It's like, fuck those. Click this little.
I like the way it ended though, which I'm not going to unveil, but
spoilers. Come on.
I just said spoilers. I wasn't.
Hey,
you can't call me and say I wasn't going to reveal.
Hey, spoilers.
Hey.
No, spoilers.
We done talking about Ilana?
We are done talking about Ilana.
So now we talking about Lance.
Oh, hold on.
Because I like Lance.
Before we get into this, I gotta cue up his theme music.
Oh, that's right. Compliments to Vonra.
Vonra? You mean Tenchi?
Whatever. 6'4".
God damn, you suck at remembering aliases. Anyway, Lance's theme music.
He sucks for having too many.
Oh yeah.
Damn.
They say Lance is one bad mother. Shut your mouth. What? I'm gonna be talking about Lance. Can you dig it? The hyperspace karate man who fights against Neutrality Clan. Damn right. Alright, enough of that shit.
Yeah. Still want you to finish that. I really enjoyed that first little verse that you throw out there.
But no, I mean, Lance is pretty much... He's another character that could have very easily gone bad and just became a completely unlikable character, because he's a good fighter. You know, he's brave, he's good looking, he's good at everything. Yet he's still flawed enough to be a relatable character. You know.
Yeah.
And at the start of this series, Lance is pretty much he was a soldier back on their home planet.
The way this series starts off, like. It really does remind me of Full Metal Panic, which I know not everybody's gonna be aware of.
Never seen it?
You haven't watched any of it?
No.
Man, the way it starts off, it does remind Full Metal Panic in some instances.
Well, basically,
with the main character, especially.
Basically, Lance he was a soldier. He was just pretty much, he was an outstanding soldier, but he was still, he wasn't royalty. He was pretty much just his whole duty was to protect the royalty of the planet. And when they first get to Earth, he's hyper paranoid. He's he's really protective of Ilana, and that's pretty much the extent of his character in the first couple episodes. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he's a pragmatic thinker. He does care about others, but he does try to fulfill his duties on his role that he was given from the king by protecting Ilana first and foremost over everything else, which becomes a huge confrontation issue, especially as the series progresses when more of the Matrati come in.
Yeah, but basically, I think really the way he grew as a character in the series is learning to turn that shit off and just relax. Like, I mean, there's an episode where he gets a car, and an episode where he learns to play the guitar. He's getting hobbies. He's just chilling the hell out. And
Maybe Lance will get an old lady. Who knows? We'll see.
I mean, that pretty much, you know, was his whole growth as a character. And in the last episode,
yeah, his growth was chill the fuck out.
And in the last episodes, man, I mean, it's a pretty tense situation. But he's cracking jokes. He's not really taking it that seriously.
Wait, which episode?
He's the last episodes.
Oh yeah.
He's like cracking jokes while they're in a pretty.
They really did make him seem more subdued and.
Yeah, he's laid back. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, he's still managing to kick ass without breaking a sweat. Yeah.
I think towards the end of the season they do become more like a family though.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing. At the start of this show, none of the three main characters knew each other.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're getting to know each other as the show goes on, as we're getting to know them.
Yeah.
See, this series doesn't fall back on a lot of, you know, cliche storytelling devices like you just have a character randomly come in and give plot. You know, that never happens in this show.
No, it's a lot more organic. They don't need to explain.
Yeah, pretty much learning as they learn about each other.
Exactly.
So, you know, it wouldn't make sense like if they all knew each other back on their home planet for them to ask us, so what's your deal? You know, what motivates you? It wouldn't make sense for them to ask that question. And a lot of shows freaking do that. You know, like when they're trying to develop characters, they just have one character, even though they should probably know the answer to this question. Just come ask a question just so the other character can give exposition. That doesn't happen in this show, and I actually appreciate this show for that. You know,
yeah, it takes its time, which really does leave room for more further down, but
yeah.
You know.
But one thing about Lance's character, he's subdued, he's standoffish, and he's brooding. He's like, you know, and so naturally all the high school teenage girls fall in love with him. He's like
I fell in love with him.
Well, he does have those bedroom eyes.
No, I stare at him like, man, I have to draw that tonight.
Seriously, what is up with Lance's eyes? He's the only character in the show with eyes like that. Those aren't bedroom eyes. Those are chibi anime eyes. That motherfucker looks like
I'm not gonna lie, when it came to art direction, that was something that took time for me to warm up to, but I eventually did just because the way they utilize expressions, it works well, which is why usually most big eyes are drawn. But yes, when it comes to how his personality is in relation to those features, those don't usually correlate with each other. So I mean, you would think something more thin and slick, and you know, something that's actually relating to somebody who's trying to not grab as much attention. You know, he doesn't seem like the character. He's trying to do his role and duty. That's it. He doesn't want to like have the crowd that he's gaining. So I mean, having eyes of that nature just does not help.
And, you know, that actually creates a pretty good storytelling plot device or whatever between him and Ilana. That's some pretty good chemistry because she wants to be popular, but she's not. He doesn't care, and he's popular. You know. Yeah. So you kind of have those two characters bouncing off each other in that way during the high school segments of the show.
Yeah, and it allows Lance to even like see in perspective of what she's doing that's causing her not to be popular. You know, you could just you can look at Lance and just be like, okay, just, you know, even he's like, just stop. You know, you're trying too hard.
I know. There's one episode she's like, I'm gonna be a cheerleader, and he's like, why?
Yeah, pretty much. Like this doesn't change anything in relation to your role of what you're doing now.
And that's pretty much Lance. He's just, in a nutshell, he's pretty much, you know, he gives one word answers, just, hey, cool. Yeah. I was gonna go to the dance, but dances really aren't my thing. Just that fucking guy that everybody hates. But for some reason you like him in this show.
I was about to say, I like the character too.
Yeah.
It's especially cool when you actually do get the backstory of him too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and exactly, like I said, each character gets their own episodes. They get their own chances to tell the story and grow as a character. Yep. And they juggled that pretty well. To say the first season only had 20 episodes. Yeah. Each episode had a purpose.
I remember I thought it was at like, I don't know, like 12, because any season that gets like 20 episodes first season, I'm happy because that usually can be a generalization that happened, but when it comes to action shows, you don't get that as often anymore.
You're looking at about 10 or 15.
I mean, especially by second season, you don't usually get 20.
No, you're looking at about 10 or 15 generally for a first season.
So yeah, I was like at 12 and I was like, man, I thought this was it. And I was like, oh shit, we got like 8 more. I was like, fucking right. And,
See, that's the thing. I was watching it in a whole different way because I just kept clicking to the next episode, and I got to the last episode. I was like, "All right, cool. You know, that just happened. You know, they're setting up more storytelling devices, and there's still shit they haven't covered. Where's the next episode?" And I clicked, and it was like, "Where's the next episode?"
That was after the last.
Yeah, that was the last episode. I was like, wait.
No, I actually pretty much knew. As I was watching it, I was getting more upset because of all the good things that were happening. So as I'm graduating, I'm just like, I'm just hyperventilating. I'm hyperventilating because I'm like, this can't be it. This can't be it. That's what I kept on telling myself as I'm watching this. Like, there's so much that they're setting up for a new season. It's just, it's incredibly.
Damn, I could just imagine you like with wrapped up in blankets with all the lights turned off. It's like, it can't be ending. It can't be ending.
That's exactly how I was.
It can't be over. Oh my god, I don't want it to be over. Tell me it's not over.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I was at. Because I rewatched it over and I was like, damn, man.
You know what? That's the thing, though. I mean, I would kind of rather known it was going to end when I was coming up on episode 20. Because, no, I was just watching it expecting another episode.
Yeah, exactly. I wish I could have watched it that way. Because at least I wouldn't have No,
it sucks watching it that way. Because I was watching it expecting another episode. And I clicked for another episode. And I looked hard for another episode. And that episode just wasn't fucking there. Where's the episode? Where's episode 21? High Cartoon Network? Anyway, but no, because they had just turned a corner and there was new things happening and there was still shit that wasn't explained and so it just ended. I mean,
for a first season, it ended really well though.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, man. I mean,
all right, hey, stop that.
No.
You could have saved that for then.
No,
now we're on a podcast.
No, because
see, that's embarrassing.
I was expecting things to start happening, and they just didn't happen.
I know. Okay.
I just felt so betrayed. I mean, what?
So did I.
Who can I trust anymore? I mean,
not Cartoon Network. I promise you can't trust their ass.
Especially with action shows, dear Lord.
They like comedy. That's what's safe. They don't have to have continuity. They can just keep churning out whatever slapstick humor they can find, and that'll make people happy.
No, it won't.
Yeah.
They're not happy AIDS.
Well, people like the same thing, don't they? Nobody wants anything different.
Anyway, moving on.
Well, that was awkward.
Okay, so we talked about the three main good guys, but a series can, there has to be a conflict. You can't have a series without good bad guys, and this show generally has good bad guys. So let's go ahead and talk about that. Okay.
Yeah, like the whole.
Hey, let me talk.
I'm gonna look up a word. Keep talking.
You're gonna look. Okay, no. Okay, the main villain of the show, and he's like the recurring villain, is General Modula. Mm-hmm. And General Modula,
badass,
with his curvy Captain Ahab beard and his hat that covers his eyes where he shouldn't be able to see.
It looks like the hat from like the cereal Captain Crunch.
He does kind of favor Captain Crunch a little bit, But they establish him quickly as a badass. I mean, he shows up on a planet leading an army of monsters, and a whole army platoon tries to take him on, and he just takes them out single-handedly without even needing a weapon. They're all shooting guns at him. He just comes in and just kicks all their asses.
Pretty nice.
And what's interesting about General Modula, he's actually he was a resident of the planet Galiluna. He wasn't from a different planet. Mm-hmm. He actually was respected on his planet, and for reasons made evident during the season, he ended up switching sides. So he knows the kingdom inside and out. And it makes him more of a threat.
Yeah, that coup d'etat. That's pretty much what they threw on him.
And General Modula actually leads the Mutrati, which is a different race of aliens. They're more monster-like. They're not as humanoid. Because Galilunans look like we do.
Yeah, so, we wouldn't relate to other freakish things.
Right. So basically what you have is once he realizes the princess has escaped from the planet, he starts sending monsters to Earth to go after her, Mm-hmm. And it pretty much, that's why I compared it to the Power Rangers.
I would say, well, how do they find them, though? How do they find them? Oh,
that was pretty cool, actually. He tortured the information out of the king. You don't remember that?
Oh yeah, that's right. They actually did They actually did have a Mutrati there who.
No, that wasn't. No.
I thought didn't they have insert the little creature inside of him?
They did, but that was for a different reason.
And they was just fucking that king up for real for now.
That king looked like he ate steroids, man. That motherfucker. That was the.
I think that dude gave birth to steroids.
I was like, what the hell kind of royalty looks like this? Is he? He's the king of the fucking WWF planet, you know? Like I expected when he opened his mouth to hear him talk like Macho Man Randy Savage, you know? Like I expected, you know, it's like, tell me where your daughter is, King. Let me tell you something, brother. I will never tell you where my daughter is. You know why? Because you're gonna have to come take this planet from me. You know, just
pretty much. I mean, he was he reminded me of other kingly characters I can't think of the top of my head because they really didn't go too much into the king.
No, not really.
Yeah, but he definitely screamed freaking they pulled a lot of things. I was like, it seems more. I always go to Conan because of certain things.
He does. He's built like Arnold from Conan. Motherfucker, yeah. You expect him to break out in an Arnold voice. Like, what happened to your daughter, King? Well, she got to the chopper. That was a terrible Arnold impression. I'm sorry, people.
I can't think of the top of my head. There's other kings I've seen that do remind me of this king, though. I can't call it out immediately right now. It's. I mean, maybe I could. I don't know. What about the king from Little Mermaid?
I can see that.
Yeah, that's a king that does draw a reminder to me with this character.
Well, yeah, but no, the king in this show would kick that guy's ass.
That's what he thought. He's like, you take that trident.
He would just snap him in half. I mean, no, this king's bicep is bigger than Triton's chest.
He looked like he was pretty much crucified in the show the whole time, though.
They had to restrain him. Did you see how big he was? They friggin' had him suspended with steel cables and shit, man. The dude was like...
That dude could have came over to the king in Little Mermaid while he was still crucified and still beat the shit out of his ass.
That's what I'm saying, man.
I can do this with my chest all day.
The king, that's right. But anyway, no, basically what you have is the General Modula actually can't. He's actually managing the overthrow of this planet, which is why he can't go in person to, go assassinate the princess. Yeah. But he wants her gone, so the people's spirit will break and he'll finally have control over the planet. Because he basically has control, but there's still little pockets of resistance.
Right.
So I think that's a pretty cool device, and it actually goes to explain why the main bad guy doesn't show up in person. Because a lot of times in these shows, you see people standing on the moon, sending monsters, and you're like, well, why don't you just go? I mean, it seems like that would just solve things a lot quicker.
There's a lot of things I don't understand. I don't understand why, if they knew where these motherfucking monsters are coming from, why do they not go up to the damn moon and fuck them up?
Exactly. I mean, it's the moon. It's not like the Power Rangers. They can teleport. They can teleport anywhere.
I think they just got lazy. During the match, they were just like, alright guys, call it a day.
It's like, alright guys, we just beat the monster. Yeah, but don't you think we should do something about Rita on the moon?
I got homework to do, dude. I gotta get some sleep.
It's like, dude, we beat the monster. Come on, man.
Like, I haven't had lunch yet. Now you want me to go up and fight the moon?
Yeah. But anyway.
What, we look like Gurren Lagann?
Anyway, we're not talking about Gurren Lagann or Power Rangers right now. We're talking about Sym-Bionic Titan.
But yeah, we could talk about, I don't know, about the Mutrati, how in their playing all the different Mutratis, the monsters, and
they come on spaceships. There's not that much to talk about.
They come out.
They send a spaceship with a monster. The end. That's it. That's all that happens.
It's the Tokusatsu, which is like the Godzilla, Ultraman, and all that stuff.
General's like, man, I can't really be bothered to go down there, so I need a monster. Hey,
and he believes all the propositions that all these other creatures that are intelligent with him that keep throwing. I promise you, this is going to work. Is it now? Okay.
Yeah, pretty much like there's an alien monster ranch, right? Like like an alien Pokemon trainer, and he's
Monster Ranch.
It's like he goes to the alien Pokemon Center and picks out a good one. He's like, okay, yeah, that looks like that could kill him, and he sends it down to Earth, and then they go Titan and they kill it, and he's like, damn,
that's not going back to the Pokemon Center.
I guess I gotta send another one now. But no, Well, we'll get into that later on. So that's
because I do want to go into like the mechs and
that's
Titan too.
Oh yeah. But that's General Modula. And the next main antagonist is General Steel. General Steel.
General Steel, the man who knows how to throw a punch at anybody that will who will disrespect anything United States.
And he started off good, but then he just kind of tricked.
You know, I can't really do the military thing. It's just fuck you, Jonny.
But no, General Steel is pretty much.
I mean, I like when they present him on the news broadcast, especially.
The hammer.
No, I mean when they're trying to pretty much, you know, give props to Sym-Bionic Titan and they're interviewing Steel and Steel's just like a hero. When they call him hero, isn't he a hero? And he's like, a hero is a guy with 20 badges, you know, military badge, who's seen countless wars.
No, Steel's awesome. Steel isn't bright at all.
No.
But no, he's pretty much the leader of the United States Army, and he does not trust Titan. He thinks Titan is the reason the aliens are coming to Earth, which is pretty much true.
Yeah, I'm about to say there is validity to what he's saying.
But he lumps all the aliens come together. They're aliens on U.S. soil, and they have got to feel the wrath of the United States Army. This is taxpayer dollars at work. We're gonna send tanks and we're gonna shoot.
And this big ass mech that we make it.
Hey, spoilers.
I'm sorry. My name is Steel, and I didn't say this.
Damn it, you suck at this. Why do I even invite you to these podcasts?
Look, man, it was just such a cool part.
Yeah. It would be even cooler if they didn't have it spoiled. Yeah. Think about what you did.
Audience, I need you guys to agree with Jonny or not on this.
No, they agree with me.
Yeah.
That's why they're not saying anything. Because they know.
Okay, well, this is awkward. So let's continue.
It's not awkward. You deserved it. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. But no, General Steel basically, he's a shoot first, ask questions later type guy. You know, he's like, there's one part where they actually come in contact with an alien. They're able to, you know, recover an alien artifact. And he's like, I want this thing dissected. I want to know what it is and how to kill it. And the scientist is like, maybe we should, you know, just examine it first. He's like, no, I want it dissected. But if we don't kill it, we could probably figure out how. No, you fire up the scalpel and dissect it. And then they tried to do that. And they had a hard shell. And it's like, no, well, fuck it. Hit it with a laser then. And
didn't that thing pretty much like destroy them?
Anyway, get into that.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Okay, don't kill my build up. I'm trying to establish a build up here. And when you interrupt me, it just slows down the build up. See, you get what I'm doing here? I'm starting to try to establish an interest, and when you derail my thought, it pretty much just makes me, you know, break off on a tangent and forget what the hell I was even talking about to begin with. So now here we are, AIDS, and it's all your fault once again. I was about to make a point.
I think you just built it
up. And all of a sudden, I just lost.
I was like, I think you just built it up another build up. I don't know how you did that, but I'm totally fascinated by this.
But no, I mean, pretty much the scientists, everybody, you know, intelligent is advising him not to mess with this. You don't know what this is gonna do. But he's like, nah, go ahead, hit the nuclear laser. We need to see what's inside and how to kill it. Hammer, General Steel, U.S. Army. You know,
vote for me. I'm George Bush in subtext.
And he's pretty much the most vocal opponent of Titan. He thinks Titan is an alien menace. He's like the Jonah Jameson of this series. Yeah. Like if you read comic books, the guy, you know, the head of the
Daily Bugle at the
he's the main editor for the Daily Bugle, the one that just thinks Spider-Man. He's a costume menace. He's a vigilante. You know?
I need someone to blame.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Even though Spider-Man's saving his ass on a daily basis, it's like he's still a vigilante. Why is he wearing that mask? We need to know who he is. No, Steel is pretty much just like that character. Yeah. Only with a lot of resources and soldiers at his disposal.
Yeah.
Which makes for some pretty interesting, you know, fights going on.
There's a lot of interesting encounters with them and also the Titans and everything.
Yeah.
They all, it's always interesting to see how people have to get away from each other too.
And so I guess we can move on to the last major antagonist,
Solomon's that sexy. He's the other sexy character. sexy
in a series with many, huh? No, I mean Solomon is the head of what is it? G3.
Yeah.
G3 is the Galactic Guardian Group, and
it's another unit that's trying.
No, they
split
actually
apart from G Unit from.
Oh yeah, 50 Cent. They like G Unit. They originally.
And this other little crowd within G is like, this isn't working.
No, they used to run with 50, but they decided they was going to go G3. Next generation.
Yeah, the bulletproof vest wasn't enough for them.
And 50 couldn't keep up. Even though he said he was going to keep up with that train.
Yeah, they were just like, no, we don't want to die. How about that? How about that?
Galactic Guardian Group is never really explained where they get their money or their resources. They might be a covert government operation, or they might not be.
They never really. Look, they're the guys that we all have, suspected that might be conspiring against us.
Yeah, it's pretty much it's pretty much implied that it's a federal bureau that monitors extraterrestrial activity.
Yeah.
And they have some cool tech. They have, pretty awesome ships and pretty awesome robots and planes and jets and stuff, And
Solomon has his own little gadgetry every there.
And they're led by a guy named Solomon. And, to describe Solomon, it's like if you took...
Tuxedo Mask?
Yeah, if you blended Tuxedo Mask with, like... The guy, with Scully from the X-Files.
I like how you select Scully specifically.
Yeah, it's like
this isn't Mulder anymore. We're gonna go straight cross-gender here.
Yeah, man. I mean, you mix X-Files with the Matrix meets Tuxedo Mask, and you have Solomon. And I know that sounds like a weird blend of characters, but it works because what this series does is you never know whose side Solomon is on. You never know what his motivation is. He could be on their side, but he might not be because he's so mysterious and he wears his sunglasses at nighttime and has a trench coat and a hat. He's pimp.
He is pimp.
You know what else is pimp? Those outfits that the G3 dudes wear. They're soldiers. They've got like the rocket, the kick-ass orange ascot right here, and the red jumpsuit and the helmets. They cover their face with the face masks. They're like,
I don't know who their fashion designer is, but they've really been staying on top of that shit.
Right. I mean, they look like they jumped out of freaking Austin Powers. Do their pants flare? Like, are they wearing bell bottoms? It kind of looks like they're wearing bell bottoms.
They do flare out a little bit here and there. Sometimes I get confused about where this timeline takes place.
Exactly.
Kind of get back to the 70s here.
And, Solomon and Steel don't like each other.
Well, I think Steel really doesn't like Solomon more than Solomon, as opposed. Solomon seems to try to, reason with him.
Yeah, Solomon operates behind the scenes, and he's like, he pretty much covers all extraterrestrial encounters. So really, every interaction with Titan should be Solomon's jurisdiction. But Steel thinks it's an alien menace, and he's got to take it out before they take us out. Yeah. And Solomon is like, you need to calm down,
You don't even know what you're dealing with.
That's a much better Solomon impression. I forgot. I was much too, energetic with my impression.
Yeah.
It's like, no, Steel. You need to understand something.
Steel.
This is
you have to listen to me. I always try to...
No, see, you're emoting too much. That's too much emotion.
No, he always sounds so serious.
He sounds serious, but you're doing a little bit of Batman right now. I don't know what you're doing right now.
Okay, well, maybe it's not that much. After listening to Solomon, I'm
just saying, Solomon is pretty much...
Picky son of a gun.
His delivery is pretty much just...
It is more subdued.
Sterile and deadpan. He's just like, Titan, we need your help. But what is your motivation first? He's just like...
Need more deepness.
I need more deepness.
Yeah, you don't have to go too deep, but just enough. It's more brief. You don't have to extend each.
Okay, so we've established that neither of us can do a solid impression. Let's move on.
Because yours sounds as wrong to me too.
Let's just move on here. God damn it.
We're not doing. Watch the show. How about that?
I don't know why.
Then you guys can pretty much vote for who had came up with a more accurate Solomon impression.
I don't know why you even bother trying to do things. You always ruin it, Ace.
Okay, I'm the source to blame. What can I say? I do what I can. But yeah. And Solomon's there. He really does. In the way they build that character up, it does happen very slowly.
Yeah, he's always mysterious.
He still remains pretty much mysterious by the end of the show. But morally, you don't know whether you should trust this character or not. They really do leave that up in the air. And you know, you start to grow and trust him.
Hey, spoilers.
Spoilers. You might not. Guess what? Nobody knows. Moving on.
God.
It's a truth nobody knows.
God. Supporting cast.
There's no spoilers in here, y'all.
Not as long as I'm around.
I'm scared.
You better. You should be.
Go on with the supporting cast.
Okay, but every series needs to have a supporting cast. You know, they're not in a desert somewhere. They're actually in a city filled with people. So naturally, they're going to come in contact.
Deserts usually associated with terrorism, you know.
So basically, yeah.
Why do I hear crickets?
Anyway, no, you know, there are recurring characters in that show. Now, there aren't very many, but the ones that do recur, they actually make an impact. They're actually well thought out characters.
Most of them.
Most of them.
I was say most of them.
Okay, so
they're all entertaining at least. They're not like they're just not there and they just please me.
they all seem 3-dimensional. I think we can accept that, right? Can you accept that?
To a certain degree. I was just thinking about the neighbor.
Oh, let's talk about Barb.
Yeah, because Barb is probably the least impactful because she usually plays her same role.
I kind of wish Barb had been in the series more.
She could have been. It's not like they still can't use her.
Yeah.
She has definitely a personality to work with.
Yeah, basically Barb is the typical nosy neighbor, busybody, you know, she works out, you know, and she has a little bit of a crush on Octus's dad form.
Yeah, because Octus has, you know, a couple of forms, and his dad form is one of them.
Yeah,
and he's got his student form, of course, that you've already talked about.
And I thought it was about to go down in that first episode. She was, you know, when Lance and Ilana had to leave, they went to the mall. It's like, oh, I guess it's just me and you. Like she was putting all kind of innuendo. She eased away in his house. She was all up in his crib baking him cookies. You know, it was about to go down. But Octus
the way they draw that character too, they draw that way so big. And I'm just like, y'all trying to stick this shit.
Oh yeah, man. Barb's got the goods, man. Barb is thick, you know. She's thick and juicy. She got the waist. She got
she's like a sirloin steak, huh, motherfucker?
Yeah, it's just tender, man.
Ew.
Barb could get it.
Well, I think at this point, Johnny, anybody can get it.
I'm not going there at all. We're changing the subject now.
All right, engaging in change.
Yeah, I'm gonna punch you in the face after this podcast.
Oh, let's try to do a Barb impression. How about that?
I don't even remember what Barb sounds like.
She's got that very mom sound. It kind of reminds me of like.
No, you know what show Barb came out of, right?
What?
Dexter's Lab. That is a character from Dexter's Lab if I ever saw one. Like, imagine the mom from Dexter's Lab as a brunette. That's who Barb is.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, Dexter's Lab, another good show that was on Cartoon Network. Go watch it. Anyway.
Yeah, I still need to watch it again.
That's about all we have to say about Barb.
Pretty much. So she's horny.
And she has a dog.
She does have a dog, doesn't she? I totally forgot about that.
She has a dog.
Gotcha, yeah.
Okay, did you want to talk about meat?
What?
Meat.
Meat?
Okay, I'm sorry. Edwin Meat Kopinski.
Edwin Meat Kowetsi?
Kopinski. Meat is the typical dumb jock, and I'm glad to see, like, if you've ever watched SpongeBob
SquarePants. That dude. Who, dog?
Yeah, if you've ever watched SpongeBob SquarePants, I'm glad to see Patrick's voice actor got more work because it's the same voice.
Yeah, pretty much. But it works with this role.
Yeah, and like I said, he's a typical dumb jock, and he's in a high school setting, but the twist is, you know, Newton is a pretty big nerd. But instead of, you know, him bullying Newton, which he pretty much couldn't because Octus is still a kick-ass alien robot.
Yeah.
He pretty much idolizes the nerd.
I do like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get a lot of mixed signals from that dude. And then, like, toward the end of some of this, when he's interacting with it, he starts to definitely just have total respect for Octus.
He idolizes, he follows him around. Octus, you're my buddy. What's up?
And Octus just kind of stares at him like... What?
Exactly.
We barely interact with each other.
No, Octus isn't even like that. Octus pretty much, you know, treats him like a little child. He treats him like a redheaded stepchild. He's like, Meet, I'm trying to talk on the phone.
So,
Shoo.
Yeah, it's like, no.
Exactly. I'm trying to do something here. Can I concentrate, please? Meet, go in the corner. Okay.
Meet will go.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is true. Especially the episode with
those... Spoilers.
It wasn't really
spoilers.
It didn't spoil the whole thing.
Spoilers.
It's not like we had to pull from episodes.
Hey. Spoilers.
Hey.
Spoilers.
I just said hey. Okay, continue.
Zip
God
it.
damn it.
Zip it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess we should talk about Kimmy, who's probably the biggest recurring character in this role. Kimmy Meisner, aka the cheerleader captain, aka Queen Bitch.
Yeah, the bitch is one of them all.
The bitchiest bitch of them all, yes.
Okay.
So you want to start talking about Kimmy?
I tap that.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Anyway, no, Kimmy is the head of the cheerleading squad, and at the start, when they first introduce her character, she's just as shallow and vapid as you would expect her to be. In a series that clearly hates cheerleaders, she's the most hate-inspiring one of them all.
Yeah,
she's petty, she's spiteful, she's shallow, she's dumb. Yeah, but she actually grows as a character.
Yeah,
which I think is cool
because it takes nerds.
Nerds.
No more Revenge of the Nerds for you. You've had too much of that show.
But no, I guess I will allow this. This is sort of a spoiler, but it's actually a pretty big part of her character, so I guess we'll go into it. She ends up dating Octus, which is pretty weird.
Yeah. No, given that one's a machine.
He's a robot.
And one's not.
Yeah. But it actually ends up with them both growing as a character. She becomes much less superficial, and she actually seems to genuinely care for Octus's alter ego, Newton.
Huh?
And, no, she actually comes to accept the other two as a result.
Yeah. I mean, she kind of grew respect for Ilana in one episode, but it definitely happened more easily through this relationship.
No, she didn't. She may have respected her, but she still ostracized her. She was still just as much of a bitch to Ilana.
That's true. The next episode, she did remain bitchy to her.
Yeah, because she's a cheerleader, and cheerleaders are all bitches. Have you watched the show? Didn't you know that all cheerleaders?
I'm playing out my role, sweetie. Let's go with it.
Yeah, all cheerleaders are shallow, vapid, soul-sucking bitches. Yeah. Anyway, it goes without saying. So,
can you say that 10 times fast?
Soul-sucking bitches.
Okay.
Soul-sucking bitches. I can't do it.
Go. Okay. Anyway, go.
But no, basically, Kimmy learns that she's not limited to her, her social status or, the role society has dictated for her.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty true lesson. I mean, it could have probably been handled a little bit better, and she could have shown more growth, but she showed growth, so.
Show still had a lot of room to grow for a lot of these characters anyway. I mean,
maybe in season 2, Cartoon Network.
Ain't happening. I don't think they're doing it.
I'm keeping hope alive.
Hey, I will support the protest.
Don't rain on my parade.
If there's a petition on that.
A petition? The fuck is a petition?
Well, I'm sure I can come up with some bullshit.
That sounds like a foot disorder or something.
Yeah.
Man,
getting a bad case of those.
Got athlete's foot. That's a bad petition. But anyway, moving on. Continuing with the supporting cast, I think the only other character really worth noting is Kristen. Kristen, aka Girl Nats. That's what she is. She's Nats with boobs. She take a popular character and give him boobs.
I'm sexually confused.
And you have Kristen. And that's really one of the weak points, in my opinion, of this show. I don't like characters like that. The only reason they exist is as a love interest to an already established character. But they're pretty much just the gender reverse version of that character. There is nothing noteworthy or even interesting about this character other than she's like Lance. She gets along with Lance, and that's why she's there. That's why I don't like that character. I don't like characters like that.
She gets me.
I know, yeah, because and I really saw the sparks fly when they first met each other, because Lance was like, "Hey," and she was like, "Hey," and he's like, "Man, I hate this place," and she was like, "I hate this place too." Like, cool, you want to hang out? And she was like, "Yeah," and then they were hanging out. So
and then they fucked.
Yeah, they fucked because Lance is a bad motherfucker. And
Ilana's like, "Why am I not getting any dick?"
And you could if you just calm the hell down.
That's what Lance was trying to tell us. Like, just calm down.
Yeah. But no, that's pretty much all there is to say about her. She does karate like Lance. She's like a goth character like Lance.
Yeah.
She's got black hair like Lance.
Okay, this is getting creepy.
Yeah, she's pretty much Lance.
I totally forgot about the character, honestly, until you mentioned her again.
Because she was a totally forgettable character.
Yeah, she really was. But I remember now.
It's pretty much girl Lance.
Yeah.
Okay, now that we've established pretty much the main cast of characters,
that's definitely one of the things that did not work, at least character-wise.
Yeah, she was a pretty weak character, and I really wanted to see this character develop because all I got was girl Lance the entire time. She's been in a couple of episodes, but all she's ever been is just a love interest for Lance. She deserves better.
Yeah, like Newton.
Newton deserves better too.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think now we should touch on the things the series gets right. So, you want to start us off here?
I mean, I think the series gets right is a lot of the way the characters interact and how they develop. We've already explained that they do organically grow with each other. It's not like they have to feed exposition or lecture us, to why what they're doing is wrong. They actually go through realizations just based on the mere, events that are transpiring with them, And you can actually see them going through thoughts and realizing, what they're doing. So that's really cool. It's not something you see as often in a lot of shows these days. Art-wise, I really like it, especially coming from an artistic standpoint.
It's got a pretty streamlined, simplistic design. Yeah. It works.
Yeah, it really pulls from a lot of things I saw that Gendy worked on in Clone Wars. It's very smooth, quick animation that works with the streamlined art that they put in. At first, when I saw this show, before I even knew the story and everything, I was actually kind of impartial on it, because right now we're living in a generation that Japan and America is experimenting with just using 3D and 2D mixed things. So when I saw the 3D mix with the 2D characters, I wasn't sure what to think. I saw the design of Sym-Bionic Titan and I was like, alright, well, it looked interesting, but it wasn't anything special to me when I saw him.
Oh, that's the thing. This series does blend 3D and 2D, but it does it seamlessly.
No, it does it well, exactly. Yeah. That's why I was gonna say, because when I saw Sym-Bionic Titan, I was just like, okay, it's not too special. He's got a very transparent look, and I didn't see what else he was capable of. And you really do see a lot of things they really utilize with this character's mechs and everything, especially when they form Sym-Bionic Titan. They do a lot of different things with it, and it does look really interesting looking. And it's not just like Power Rangers and I pull out one sword and that's it, we call it a day. Or pull out a blaster or any single weapon that Power Rangers could churn out back in the day.
Yeah, that's the thing. Titan does not finish two monsters the same way. Titan has a multitude of finishing moves that he just busts out on the fly. Okay, he's got a sword, he's got a shield,
got an axe sometimes,
got an axe, a spear, a halberd, a kusarigama, a giant fucking robot using a kusarigama.
That's really cool.
Think of how awesome. Did you just hear that concept?
Yeah.
Did you just not jizz your pants when you heard a giant colossal robot wielding a kusarigama? Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happened.
That happens. Watch this show.
Yeah. But yeah, it's I like that the things you just mentioned, of course. But yeah, the way they blend it is really clean. It doesn't really detract and it doesn't make you feel like something just foreign entered the show. It really does blend pretty seamlessly in there. And it works. Now The only thing I would say is that I mean, why are other shows doing this more? I don't know. I mean, if we're not gonna at least hand draw it, you know, I definitely see this being potentially utilized in future other things. It's just, I don't know. Some things that I've seen with 3D and 2D works. I mean, I just saw something else recently that didn't look nearly as good 3D 2D wise.
I've seen a lot of that.
That new Berserk I saw, it doesn't look that great.
Hey, we're not talking about that. We're talking about Titan. Good 2D, 3D blend.
I was gonna delve into it. That's all I was gonna say. That's all I know.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we're moving on now. See, you know, this is where we were. Now this is where we're going. We're going.
But I like how they Okay, but anyway, the part I do like is that they actually do problem solve some of the creatures that they approach and they have to kill. You know.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, that's another thing I like about this series.
That's one thing I really like, and because a lot of other shows I've seen that has the tokusatsu thing, usually it's not.
It's like, what, my sword attack didn't work? What the hell do I do now?
I mean, I've seen some older shows do a little bit, but not the way they do it here. They actually do it in a sense that does make more sense.
Okay, well. A lot of things. One thing I think this series gets right is it pretty much from episode to episode there is you can tell that there are different tones for different episodes. Thematically, like the color choices they use, the environments, there's varied environments, there's varied storytelling devices, there's varied styles for each episode, and you never really know what you're gonna get going into the next episode.
Yeah.
I mean,
lighting is really done well in the show. The lighting.
Yeah, I mean, it looks nice. You know, the angles, the camera, the shots.
I just say lighting especially because like usually a lot of American cartoons don't utilize like different shades of lighting on what's cast on the characters. Usually they just use one color and that's it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the environments really do affect, so that's a really good note to say because they do affect the mood and settings.
Well, like the way they shoot the action, the way the action is choreographed, the angles that they use. I mean,
it's actually interesting looking.
Yes, it's a treat to watch. When I watched the flashback episode that showed the story leading up to them leaving their planet, my God, that was a kick-ass episode. They could freaking make a movie out of that, and I would watch it.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite episodes. I really did enjoy how that was
That was dynamic story. I mean, the thing is, this series, the director of this series understands visual storytelling. They can show you what's happening instead of telling you what's happening. And it's a concept that's lost in a lot of media today. I'm tired of people spoon feeding me exposition. You know, this series doesn't do that. This series shows you what's happening as it happens.
Yeah. It takes its time with it a little bit better than a lot of other things do it. You know, even if they... Because usually I feel like explanation and they spoon feed you, it really is just to jam-pack a lot of information.
Yeah.
And, you know...
Yeah, the series doesn't have a lot of episodes, but it conveys its information, you know, and it doesn't do it in a rushed way.
Yeah. It's a slower pace, but it does it in an interesting way. So it keeps your attention without actually seeming like it's just dragging.
Yeah, I mean, we've covered the character interactions. I think that's another strong point. The show has its humor, but it knows when to be serious. See, a lot of children's shows, they'll take one or two paths. They'll either, you know, be all action and drama and intensity, or they'll be mainly funny, and there's very little middle ground. This show has its funny moments, but these characters understand the situation. They understand that, you know, when they need to be serious, when they need to take things seriously.
You can tell how they prioritize what they do in relation to what's going on, you know, especially in how powerful the Mitrati is, and especially when they feel defeated in certain instances, you know. Yeah,
but this show, don't get me wrong, this show has its humor. I mean, there is one moment that, and this is the moment that really sunk that I would love this series, you know. And that's when Kimmy, the cheerleader we were talking about before, she's trying to get Newton to do her homework for her. And he's trying to basically... Yeah, he's a nerd, you know, and so the teacher pairs her up with him to help her with her homework. And she just wants him to do it for her, and he's not going to do it. And so she's trying to convince Newton to do, or Octus, she's trying to convince him to do her homework, and she pretty much does this whole striptease for him, you know.
Well, and she doesn't strip, but she does.
No, this is a striptease. She doesn't need to take clothes off. This girl,
it's like you pretty much have left whatever. And
this girl shakes her ass. I mean, if you go to YouTube and type in "shake it, bake it, booty quake it," you will see this scene, and my jaw dropped when I saw this scene. And I know that for that split second, me and Octus were thinking exactly the same thing. Like, she bends over at the jukebox, and she's wearing these tight white pants. And you can just see her ass cheeks, and they animated the hell out of these ass cheeks, by the way. Mm-hmm. And yeah, she just starts the music. And she just starts dancing, and Octus was doing something with his hands. His hands just drops, and his jaw just drops. And me and Octus both thought the same thing. Just, damn.
I don't know what I'm looking at.
Yeah, it's like, God damn. You know what I mean? That all dudes were thinking the same thing. It was like, because she's just shake it, bake it, booty quick, you roll it around. Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah.
And it came right the hell out of nowhere. And what was an otherwise pretty innocent episode.
Yeah.
And after it happened, it was never spoken of again. They must have went to Boondocks and tried to figure out. I don't know how they drew this girl dancing this way. I don't know where she learned stripper moves. She does a flip over the coffee table and spins down a lampshade like it's a stripper pole.
I wonder how they got the thumb of approval to do it, and where their time slot was when this show was. I mean, that episode was presented.
Dude, I was like, this was on Cartoon Network.
I just want to know what time slot they have with that episode.
Holy hell, that was. Anyways, yeah, type it up, and then you probably want to watch the rest of this series. You know. Because you have to know where that fits in.
Nothing like ass shaking to motivate someone to watch an entire series.
But no, it pretty much, this series borrows from a lot of different genres. It's not really just sci-fi action. It's not really just humor.
I mean, they borrow from Boondocks.
They borrow from Boondocks, but they also borrow from Fast and the Furious. They've also borrowed from Star Wars. You know, you never really know what you're gonna get going into the next episode.
It's nice to see someone actually pulling from other things and making its own thing.
And but it still works without you having to suspend your disbelief.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. It's you know, it's like anything else that's been derivative. It does remind you of these things, but it's not like it pulls you away and feels like it's just like a.
Exactly, it's not fun. It all works within the constraints of their universe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it only makes it more interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else to add to series strengths?
Series strengths. I think I said that pretty much. The next was a huge thing for me because I'm a big mecha nut to begin with. So
nerd.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's nice to see a show. I mean, build up continuity to something that's more paced out as opposed to, you know, to them having to do just, you know, I mean, they do still do things through episodic and leave it its own episode, but they still, you know, allude to certain things each episode. You know, they don't go into it too much. But, you know, they do leave you wanting more each time, and that's something I think that's a very nice thing that you don't see in a lot of shows.
I mean, I think the episodes are mostly self-contained. I don't see a whole lot of foreshadowing for the next episode.
No, you don't. That's what I'm saying. Like, they are pretty much self-contained. Yeah. I'm just saying, they still bring up certain things.
I mean, there are recurring elements, you know.
Yeah. I think toward the end of the series is when they do bring up more continuity.
Yeah. But we're not going to talk about that.
No, we're not. Okay, moving on.
Spoilers.
Okay, I think we've already, you know, explained strengths, so let's talk about its weaknesses.
Okay. Well, actually, there was one other strength I had. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah.
Roll it around!
No. The one last thing I'm going to talk about as far as series strengths is when this world establishes a rule or way something works, they abide by it. There are no Deus Ex Machina, just nothing's working against this alien. Oh, but that, you know, and they don't pull out magical solutions for their problems. They actually have to think and problem solve to defeat.
Yeah, that was what I was saying earlier about the monsters. You know, it's not like they just stumble across. Oh, here's a better weapon. You know, that's what I mean by Power Rangers. Usually, it's just like we gotta get a bigger power. We need more power. That's usually Power Rangers. It's like, God, we don't have enough power. We need a new mech.
Yeah, I don't know where. What is it, Modula? I don't know where Modula gets his aliens from. I mean, he must be like going to the same guy that Andros from Star Fox went to, because these just
they look alike. They're related.
Because these are some of the freaky...
I think they're cousins.
Yeah, these are some of the most well-equipped aliens I've ever seen. Like, one of them is a chameleon that can shapeshift and also increase its mass. Then there's one that just, you know, kills all electrical devices. There's one that basically emits a sound wave that freezes all organic life forms in place. There's one that can crawl inside your mouth and read your thoughts. I mean, it's just like, these aliens, I mean...
They're not just, you know, these are threatening things.
I have no idea what a Mutrati is, but man, I don't know what series of evolution spawned all these different creatures under the same... They're like Pokemon, you know? It's like, how can you have this many different variations on what's supposed to be the same species? So...
No, we just categorize this as that because, you know what, we don't know what the fuck they are, so we just need to...
Actually, I think Mutrati is probably aliens for... I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Just to come up with a name that we can't identify any of these things, and we have no list of what these species are, we're just going to call them Mutrati, just to generalize.
Yeah, Mutrati, like I said, I think Mutrati is Galiluna for what the fuck.
Yeah.
It's like, so, hey, man, what the hell is that thing? Mutrati.
Yeah, it's like, oh, Mutrati!
I don't know what that Mutrati is, man. What you call it? Oh, yeah, we're going to use that.
Yeah, pretty much.
But okay, that pretty much covers series strengths. So, things that this series got wrong. Well, we already covered the girl Lance, I think, was a really weak aspect of this series.
Yeah.
But another thing that struck me during the course of the show is I know that they want to keep it in episodic format and they kind of are influenced by Power Rangers. But the longer the series drags on, the less threatening the main bad guy looks in this situation because he pretty much falls back on the same thing every time. He's not trying new solutions. I realize you got a planet to subjugate, you know, you got to make sure that spirits stay broken. But if the last 4 monsters you sent to Earth didn't, you know, they all got killed, what makes you think sending another one is going to do anything, is going to have a different result? Like, in the first couple of episodes, he seemed like he was really trying to, you know... Because the first alien he sent was just a big, typical monster. And they killed it. And he's like, how did they kill that monster? I'm going to send a stealthy alien to investigate. And he does. And this is like, you know... And that's probably one of the more, you know... You actually feel like there's a chance they won't make it through this.
Yeah. It's actually a pretty logical choice as opposed to just sending out a brute monster out just to try to flail out and destroy things as opposed to somebody just being more stealthy and just infiltrating.
But no, they established that Modula is like he's a seasoned war veteran. He's a former general that has all this military and battle experience, but he falls back on giant monster every single episode near the later episodes. And then in one episode he's like, the last monster I sent didn't work. I'm gonna send 3 monsters this time. That'll do it.
Sometimes I think he just has a sense of humor. I don't even think he's taking his own I don't think he's even thinking about his ideas as being serious.
I mean, it makes, you know, like, because they established him pretty early on as a badass, and he looks and feels the part of a badass. But when you think about his strategy, it doesn't seem like he's a military mastermind at all. There's no strategy. He just sends a giant monster. If they were so inclined, if the main characters weren't heroic or whatever, if they really were just sent there to hide out on Earth, he could send a monster and they could just ignore it and it would just, you know, terrorize the city or whatever. But they don't, unless they actually engage the monster, he has no way of finding them. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's a series that works as long as you don't think too hard about it.
That's like most things.
Oh, yeah.
In all honesty.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Is there anything you think this series got wrong?
I mean, that's a valid point. I mean, it does become repetitious when somebody isn't, you know, trying a different approach besides sending out monsters. Because the show does leave itself room to do other things besides that. Yeah. I mean, I know they have a giant robot, and that's, you know, going to still be like the, you know, crux of all the action going on. But I mean, they could still do something else with it just as well. You know, whether Modula it's going to come down or not. I mean, it's pretty much like.
I like when a series that has a giant robot actually uses it as if it were a giant robot. You know, I like overwhelming force. Like there was one episode where they didn't really need to form Titan, but they did anyway, and they just stepped on the bad guy. That was an awesome episode.
I mean, I've seen shows that just utilize giant robots where they don't even have to fight giant monsters and just done it for practical shit for no damn reason, you know? Yeah. It definitely can happen. I mean, it still can be interesting.
I'm always entertained when that happens, like where they don't really need to form the giant robot to win, but they do it anyway. Yeah. Just to make a point, just to make a statement. Yeah. Yeah, we're Titan, don't fuck with us.
Alright, good night.
Is there anything you thought it was weak on or got wrong?
Anything I thought it was weak on? I'm sure I could think of something. I'm just not sure on top of my head at the moment.
Working on a limited time frame here.
I'm on a limited time.
You have to the count of 10 to come up with a weakness.
So much pressure.
10, 9, 8, 7,
my brain can't
6,
process.
5, 4.
I'm just counting with you now.
2, 1. Your time is up. I guess you don't. I guess you think it's a perfectly flawless series and stands alone on its own. It's a masterpiece of its time. Okay.
I don't form as much an opinion because the way it ended, I felt like it left more room for me to still be immersed within stuff.
Wait, you saw an ending? I didn't see an ending.
Well, exactly. That's my flaw.
I saw a build-up that looked like it, you know, there were things that still needed explaining, and I'm looking for another episode, and it just wasn't there.
That's kind of why, I mean...
It just felt betrayed, man. That is a weakness of this series. It ended. That's a pretty huge, glaring weakness.
I mean, that's the only thing I could say about it, because I'm like, you got, like, your build-up, which is, like, a huge part of it, and then you got to see it where it leads to, and that's something that's kind of lost right now, you know? Yeah. So, I mean, that's the only thing that really does throw me off, because I don't know how to analyze it in its entirety without that part. Honestly, it's a very huge thing, because it seemed like they really did have a lot of ideas for that.
And as an aside, do you know why Cartoon Network dropped this show? They didn't drop it because the ratings were bad. They didn't drop it because it was unpopular or that it was doing anything edgy. The reason they dropped this show is because they said that there was no merchandising potential about this show. There was no merchandising potential. They couldn't make toys. Really? You couldn't make toys about a show about a giant friggin' robot that fights alien monsters.
And monsters.
You have monsters, robots, and aliens in the same show. That's like pretty much every adolescent or pre-adolescent boy's wet dream right there. Everything they like.
Wait, they get wet dreams about this? Ew.
That's pretty much everything every little boy wants. The only thing it doesn't have is dinosaurs. If this show had dinosaurs and you told me you couldn't merchandise, I would punch you in your face.
It grew in popularity too toward the end of it, so that's even the sad part.
Because it's good. That's why it grew. It stands out on a network that rarely shows anything good. Yeah. And it was good. So why did it get canceled? Cartoon Network has a track record of dropping good shows now. Yeah. For no reason at all.
I don't know why. Yeah. Can they just not afford it?
Not afford? They're making money. They now, if they had merchandise, which I think is bullshit that they said they couldn't, because really, how much you just get a piece of clear piece of plastic, some wires, and you just take a little silly string, you make Octus. There you go. $12.99.
Let's build them. You made that sound very simplistic.
There is no shortage of merchandising opportunities with this show. That's just a very stupid cop out. Yeah. So what I need you to do now that you've heard this podcast is go to www.cartoonnetwork.com and write an angry letter and tell them we want Titan. I'm sure there's an online petition somewhere, but I can't be asked to find it.
But yeah.
But no, this is definitely...
yeah, I was just going to say, like, it's a nice show because you get a blend of, like, a high school setting, you know, with giant mechs. And it gives you a different perspective. It's things that you relate on in, like, school, especially if you're a kid growing up, you know? And you know you can still escape reality and go within within the neutrality and the space aspects here. It's just it's a nice way to take yourself out of your own reality and also still try to relate on it. You know, gives you a really nice setup for you to.
So it's a fantastic setting, but it still has its very real dilemmas and issues, and it actually feels relatable at the end of the day. Yeah. Which is, what more could you ask for in a series? Go watch it. Watch it now. And we don't, we here at TheFourPlayz don't encourage or condone the piracy of, the illegal download or capture of materials. So we would never tell you to go to piratebay.com and find the torn title Sym-Bionic Titan. We don't condone that sort of thing. But if you were interested in finding the series, you could find it on.
Also, be sure not to get views and try to just, be torn and all that.
Yeah.
Because that would just be a bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll call you a bitch for that.
Yeah, we here at TheFourPlayz cannot endorse that you go download uTorrent and
don't be a bitch.
or any other torrenting software and just find it. And if you don't have access to torrenting options, we definitely don't encourage you to use MediaFire or FileSonic or anything like that.
Because the government will shut it down. I promise you.
I know that you could simply go and do a Google search and find every episode of this season, but we really don't encourage you to do that.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll come back on TV.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess we're gonna call that a wrap. Any final thoughts?
Yeah. Roll it around. Booty shaking.
You know what? Yeah, I can get down with that. Let's go out on that.
Shake it, bake it, booty quick it. That's right. Roll it around. Don't fake it. Don't. Shake it, bake it, booty quick it. Shake it, bake it, booty quick it.